Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chop and Slice podcast. I'm one of the co-hosts, Michael, and this is
Brandon.
We are here to review the brand new spanking movie Terrifier 2. And what a movie it is.
Pretty, a lot of gruesome shit in there.
A lot of gruesome kills. It's a bloodbath, folks.
Absolutely.
It is a absolute bloodbath. A lot of shocking kills. I thought it was a bit overhyped, but we'll get into all that.
This was a gnarly fucking movie, dude. Really, I mean, this movie just had it all.
Yeah, and we'll get into all that. We'll give our thoughts, our opinions, break down it scene by scene. You guys already know.
This movie is fucking insane, bro. Like, fucking insane. If you haven't seen it, if you're a fan of all that really gory shit, I mean, this is the movie for you.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't get any higher than
if you
this.
like gore and you put gore first instead of story or whatever, then this is definitely the movie for you if that's what you're about. If
This movie had some story,
a little bit, but not a whole lot of it. But we'll get on all that. So let's go to the opening scene. We're back at the autopsy immediately following the first Terrifier movie.
Mm-hmm.
We start to see Art painting his name in blood.
Yeah.
On the mirror. Then we see that doctor or whatever, physician, whatever his job title is. I'm not sure what they're called. Maybe I can research that, but
Not important. Whatever.
yeah, he's the doctor. Anyway, we see him still alive. He's pretty badly, beaten.
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah, his neck's all slit. He's all messed up. Start to see him reach for his phone. It looks like he's gonna
Try and call for help.
Contact the authorities. Call the police.
But Art puts a stop to that shit.
We then see Art smash the doctor's face with a mallet.
Yeah.
Then rips his eyeballs out of his socket.
Yeah, and he started playing with the eyeball and putting it next to where his eye got stabbed.
The doctor's eye in his eye.
Yeah,
Made a new eye. It was weird.
But then it wasn't a new eye. I honestly thought when I first saw this that was gonna be his new eye of the movie, but I guess
thought it was some Jeepers Creepers stuff there. And then he rips his whole head open, which was
he just pulled it open. It like a banana peel kind of. Just
what a way to open the movie, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Then later we see Art walk into this laundromat. He declothes, and we do see...
Yeah, it gives us a very disturbing image.
We do see his white ass. Let's be honest, what it was. And he appears to look like an older man. He looks very frail, old.
But then that's when this little sidekick,
chick.
Yeah, comes in, this little girl. And, dude, she is creepy as fuck.
Yeah, she kind of looks like a mini Art the Clown, but a 6-year-old.
Yeah,
a 10-year-old.
Scary. She's kind of looks like a little mixture of Art the Clown and Harley Quinn in a way.
And then we see him playing patty cake.
Right, they're doing this patty cake, and then there's this guy watching him.
Homeless guy. Mm-hmm. Or maybe he's just there doing his laundry or whatever. He appears to be homeless. And then, next thing you know, he sees Art moving his hands, but the girl isn't there.
Right.
So it looks,
from his point of view.
So it looks like she doesn't exist, but she does in Art's mind.
Exists.
And then later, after he puts all his gear on, he walks out, and then you see that homeless man
with the knife through his head.
Yeah.
So it was off screen. Lame.
Off screen, but it is what it is. We got plenty
of
on screen. Trust me on that, folks. The next scene we see
the new character, which is Sienna.
Sienna, she's starting to decorate her Halloween outfit. Appears to like angel wings.
Right.
Pretty cool stuff like that.
And then I think we see her brother Jonathan come in.
Yep, we see Jonathan. He's a little boy. He's kind of,
They're talking, and you kind of see a connection between Sienna and Jonathan.
Yeah,
and
they're bonding, doing their own thing. Then we cut to this like clown cafe scene. Yeah, and we see Art the Clown. He starts messing with everyone.
That was the name of the song, I think. Clown Cafe. I forgot how it goes.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
It's like at this festival thing.
At this like fest, like carnival.
But I think she's dreaming it, though.
Yeah, she ends up to be dreaming it, and it's like they're all singing, dancing, having a good old time.
And you see like this cereal with these roaches, like, or roach type things.
Well, we start to see like they're all singing, and you see Art like has a mural on the wall, stuff like that. And then they're all singing, they're all dancing. And then he shows up, and she's like freaks out because she knows something about this guy. She doesn't know what. She just knows he's bad news. So he basically is handing out gifts to all.
Lollipops and taffy apples and shit like that. And then he tries to hand her a present but it's wrapped in newspaper. She's very reluctant to grab it, and he's just forcing it on her.
Yeah, she opens it up. And it's like a live heart beating.
Yeah, pretty disturbing.
Then next thing you know, Art the Clown. Maybe his real name is Arthur. Art the Clown pulls out a machine gun and
just blows
shoots
everybody away.
Including the little kid eating cereal. Pretty sad. And then we see Sienna. She's hurt. She starts reaching...
for the cereal box.
We have no idea why.
Well, yeah, why was she reaching for that cereal?
Know.
And she's reaching her hand in there, and it sounds like she's getting bit or something. But...
Yeah, it's like roaches and stuff coming out of there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then it ends up being a dream, just like I thought it would be.
But she wakes up, and then she notices that...
her costume is on fire.
Right.
So there's like something going on, like...
I still don't understand that.
Yeah, maybe they'll explain more in the third, because she's like a big character in this movie.
I don't know, like, what's dreaming, what's psychological in this, what's real.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow at some points. Then we see her mom, who's kind of a biatch.
Yeah, to say the least.
She starts screaming at her because, the house, her room is kind of on fire, and she doesn't know what's going on. Not her room, but, like, the costume itself. Mm-hmm. She's freaking out. And then we start seeing Art make weapons.
Right. Well, when her mother confronts her about it, she tries to explain to her mom that, like, there was no candles or anything, but her mom doesn't believe her.
Her mom doesn't believe her. Her mom doesn't believe anything in this movie.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't believe Jonathan with anything.
She doesn't believe her kids at all. And I think the dad is... Well, the dad definitely is dead. Not sure if they mentioned what killed him. I don't think they did.
Mm-hmm.
All we know is his dad... Their dad is dead. The mom is here, and she's kind of a biatch.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because she had to raise 2 kids herself, but who knows. Then we cut to Art making more weapons, and we see the little girl, who I'm guessing...
It flashes back to the very beginning of the first movie with the static TV, where it re-shows the news reporter talking to
Victoria.
Right, and you see the little girl watching it, and then Art walks up and smashes the TV.
So yeah, it takes place a year after the events of the first
movie, correct?
To where all the murders from the first happened. But when Victoria is talking to the news reporter on the talk show or whatever it is, that is current time. So
right. See, I think what Damien's trying to do here is he's trying to inject this new, like, little girl, like, into his new franchise, like, injecting her into the first movie, Even
though she's never present in the first.
Right.
They try to...
make it sound like she's always been there.
But the way I'm looking at it is they do mention that girl's death in a newspaper later on in the movie. So what I think it doesn't mention it, but I think it is Art's daughter somehow.
You think so?
Yeah, because they do mention her death. And I just have a feeling that it's maybe it's a girl he killed or that he kept with her somehow.
So you're thinking like this is kind of like what drives him?
Yeah, I think that's his motive.
It could be.
She was killed like on a Halloween event, and he kills every Halloween, so similar to Michael Myers. Then we see a group of kids just messing around. It ends up being Jonathan and his friends.
Teacher comes out, and just tells him go back to class. And so they do, and then it kind of cuts to a scene where Jonathan's going through the hallway, sees the little girl and the clown. I think they're playing like this dead possum. They're
Yeah.
You're right. They're like ripping it open and like playing with the guts, and
it's very sick.
And then they like throw it at him. It's a pretty graphic scene, but that's why I don't know if this girl is imaginary or because it sounds like Jonathan can see her.
Jonathan can see her, and that's what plays into this movie. Jonathan and Sienna can both see the little girl. I don't think anybody else can, because the way I look at it is the little girl is always present with Art, but just to they somehow have a connection to Art. It's they open up a book, and pictures of all the deaths from the first movie are in that book that their dad had.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan's been holding on to that book, and Sienna said that she's been looking for that book for years, months, however long. But it had all the deaths of the victims from the first movie, and then it showed Sienna holding the head of this demon force or whatever. Looked like a demon. Holding up the head and saying, this is what Dad predicted for us. This is what everything has happened. So they're kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen in this movie. So somehow the dad is connected. It would be weird if the dad ends up being Art. I don't know.
That would be a twist.
Yeah, who knows? Very strange. Then we see Sienna. She goes to this cheap Halloween store.
Yeah.
She buys some Halloween wings.
Right, because it burned, so she was trying to go for new ones, but then she sees Art staring at her with that creepy ass smile.
Yep.
And she kind of goes by and squeaks by him. Then she goes up to the counter to pay for the wings, and she wanted something else. What else was she paying for? The wings and
I can't think of what it was. It was
she tried to buy something else, but it came out to over $30 or whatever. But she realizes that her purse was gone. Then Art slams the purse on the counter.
Somehow
and away.
he grabs her purse. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then she pays for it, and then she walks past him, walking out of the store.
Well, before that, he's, you see him trying on all these glasses, really, kind of taunting her.
You see one pair that he has on with, eyes sticking out.
Yeah.
The bouncy eyes. It's kind of...
And he comes up to her with the air horn and blows it in her ear.
The little air horn, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when she just rushed out. She rushed out of the building.
So, and then we see him talking to this guy at the counter who works at the Halloween store.
He closed and locked the door.
He closed and after she left, he closed and locked the door. The guy didn't realize that at the time. And then Art goes to, he's basically, yo, bro, we're closing up soon. If you're gonna get something, grab it.
He puts the air horn on the counter, then starts digging through.
$8.99 or something like that.
Yeah, for an air horn.
Yeah, I thought that was a little pricey for inflation these days.
Yeah. And then he starts digging through his bag with all these murder weapons, and then he's like, bro, if you don't pay for this shit right now, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then right after that, bam, with the bottle over the head. This shit gets pretty gruesome. I mean, he just chops the side of his head with this meat cleaver and then just chops him multiple times in the neck, just decapitating him. And,
he loves decapitation.
Oh, yeah.
This guy loves cutting off heads.
Oh, yeah. This is good.
Then we later see that, the sketchbook I was talking about, that scene shows up. And you do see a newspaper article about the little girl that died Not sure, they didn't mention how she died, but that's somehow connected. That little girl is the little girl with Art the Clown. So I do think that's his daughter, and maybe we'll learn more about that if they make a third installment. It looks like they are going to. That's the big rumor and goal anyway. And then Jonathan's mom does find out about the dead possum, accuses him of bringing the dead animal to school. Sienna later tells her mom that she believes Jonathan's telling the truth, and of course her mom doesn't believe a word she says. The entire movie,
This is a dumb mom.
Nothing is ever, the mom doesn't believe anything. Then we later go see that Art the Clown goes trick-or-treating at one of Sienna's friend's house. I'm not sure if they mention her name. I'm sure they do, but maybe we just didn't catch it. But so basically she opens the door, sees that he's the one trick-or-treating, and then she's like, you're too old.
Mm-hmm.
And he's being real gentleman-like. He's smiling, please.
And she just kind of shrugs him off. She goes back in, and then he kind of knocks on the door a little bit more violently this time. Yeah. And then she goes back out, and he wants more candy. Then she really starts being a bitch.
She is like, if I give you candy, will you leave me alone? And he shakes his head, yes.
Yeah, but then she bees a bitch and grabs the candy and, throws it at him.
Yeah, basically just flings it at him.
And let me tell you, he really took the whole candy trick-or-treating thing to heart, because what comes next is some real brutal shit.
So basically, she slams the door in his face, and then later that night, she wakes up, and then Art the Clown is in the house.
Well, she notices that the sliding glass door is busted, and then she looks in the kitchen and sees him roaming around. She tries to run away. He chases her up the stairs, and that's when he, grabs the knife and slices, part of her eye up, and then grabs the tiny scissors and scalps the shit out of her, and then just tears her arm off in a very vicious fashion.
She's still alive.
Rips the hand open. Yeah, still alive. And then, if you thought it couldn't get any worse than this, pulls out the bleach and the salt and just starts. That's some of the most sadistic shit I have ever seen in my life. And
it looks a little cheesy and not realistic, but I mean, it is still gory.
Yeah.
The whole salt thing reminds me of that kill in Texas Chainsaw where.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, where he saws the leg off.
Oh, that one to me is more just sticks with me more because it is more realistic.
Yeah, but he pulls out bleach in this. That was a new addition.
That was, and it's all bright too. That's not a dark scene. You can see everything going on.
Oh yeah,
the lights are on. He doesn't shy away. So yeah, that's a little. That was a crazy kill for sure. Pretty disturbing, and yeah, a lot of blood, gore fest, and then the mom finds her daughter in this just pool of blood, but still breathing somehow. And then I think Art then kills her daughter. But you just see all this blood.
Right, the mother of that, but yeah, that was weird how she was still breathing. She should have been dead from that.
All the blood on the walls, that takes me back to Nightmare on Elm Street. When Johnny Depp's character gets killed, you know how all the blood, it's a bloodbath, and then the mom walks in. Yeah, that's kind of how it reminded me. But you see Art just playing with her hair or something.
Yeah, it was bizarre, but definitely a disturbing sight.
And then he ends up killing the mother off screen and uses her head, the top of her head, as platter to give out candy
to these kids. That's pretty comical. For sure.
And then we see Sienna mom. She walks out and sees her car in the garage vandalized.
Same bitch on the windshield.
And there's shaving cream, and it's just all
it's fucked up. But then of course mom blames Jonathan for it.
Thinking that he vandalized her car to get back
at her.
She
calls up Sienna, starts bitching her out over the whole thing while she's at this Halloween party.
Yep, Sienna's at this Halloween party, rocking it, killing it. And then they get an argument about if she's drunk or not. And
right, just stupid shit. So,
and then there is like this kind of moment where you see the mom like. She kind of changes her character after Sienna's like, "Look, I love you," and then her mom's like, "You know what?
Why am I being a bitch?"
Yeah. I love you too, and that was kind of like maybe the first time they've ever exchanged that type of emotion. It seemed like.
Mm-hmm. But then, I think the mother wipes like the windshield or whatever, and that's when you see Art, and he just completely blew her brains out.
Yeah, he shoots her with this gun. I don't know what kind of gun it is. It's not a real gun. Because any gun I see, even if it's a shotgun, this is a little handheld, like, pistol it looked like, but it blew...
Well, I think a 45 could...
Her head completely blew off her body. It wasn't like a bullet. This was like something, I don't know. Her head completely blew off. And then, yeah, at that point, that was pretty crazy. And then we see Jonathan walk in, see his mom sitting at the dinner table with her head all blown off, like mushed together. You see part of like her eye. It's kind of creepy looking. Yeah.
So then Jonathan makes a run for it.
Yep, and then Art finds Jonathan and drugs the little kid, which is, I don't know if he was dead at that point. I assume he got drugged. You don't really see it. You do see him, like, stick the needle. Well, because you see
him about to stick the needle in him, so...
Yep. And then we see Sienna on her way, because she got messed up at the party. She was drinking. She was doing drugs. And her friend's like, whoa, you gotta chill out. And then...
But then she gets a call from Jonathan, or at least we think it's Jonathan, but it's really the little girl.
Posing as Jonathan. That's a little unique kind of trait that this little girl has. She can pose as other people, it seems like.
And her and Art are just laughing it up while Jonathan's passed out in the back seat.
So we see her, she's with her other friend, and her friend's douchebag boyfriend. This guy's really douchey.
Yeah, what did his shirt say?
Just the tip. And
it's like a bloody knife.
Which is funny because of what happens
later. So I think they're supposed to meet, like, do you know where they met? It's like this real open, like, field.
It was like a carnival. And, like, it had a haunted house in it.
Okay.
Like a carnival, right. Like one of those, like, Halloween carnivals.
Right.
And it's funny because the haunted house was called Terrifier.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So then,
So they meet up there, they start, like, talking, they're ready to kind of... Well, I think Sienna leaves the car.
She leaves to go get Jonathan.
Right, and then the two are kind of messing around, and they start doing some cocaine, but then she turns him down, like a chump.
He takes a bump, and then he's like, please, please.
Yeah, and she's just like, not today, buddy. And so then he gets out, and he says this cringy dialogue, I gotta go out and take a pee-pee.
You want me to hold it for you?
Yeah, want me to hold it for... So then he goes out there, and then that's when Art appears and just, like, starts stabbing him in the dick.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah, and he's just ripping it out. Like,
as a guy, that was hard to watch. Like, I don't ever want that to happen to me. That was... What I don't get is why they didn't get... They were so horny, but, like... You're just gonna let your friend go roaming by herself. Like, go out there and go help her find her brother, you know?
Right, and she ended up turning him down anyway.
Yeah, so what was the point?
Yeah, right, that was just a total waste of time. So, yeah.
So, he's laying on the ground. I don't think we ever see him actually... Because we see him laying on the ground... But do we ever see where he actually dies?
I don't remember seeing him actually axing him. Maybe he just assumed he bled out.
Yeah, but we do see him writhing in pain. But like, and then her friend, sees him getting stabbed, and she's like, "What the hell's going on?" And then she flies out of the car somehow. She gets out.
He smashed the window and he dragged her out.
Oh, he dragged her out. Yeah, and then.
And then she kicks him in the face, and then that's when she makes a run for it.
She tries to make a run for it. She gets into, like, this disgusting-looking bathroom.
Yeah,
yeah,
this is...
pretty gross. Blood all over the wall. Then
Looks like there's a mixture of blood and shit.
and then we see her die with a spiked baseball bat to like the head.
Yeah. And then he like smashed her chest open with something. And
I think the spiked bat or something.
yeah, he like smashed her chest open and yanked her heart out and started eating it.
The whole chest thing looked really, really bad. Like, looked really fake. But, I mean, that's hard to do, I think. You could tell it was super prosthetic up. But, like I said, it was, it's still cringy to watch. It's still hard to watch. It's still like, that's still cool.
I loved it. That was a great scene. The more blood, the better for me. I like a lot of blood. That was pretty good.
Then we see Sienna, walk in. And basically, I think she sees Art eating, her friend's heart or whatever. Mm-hmm. They encounter each other. They get into a fight, and, She takes it to him a little bit, but then he, just whips her ass. And, stomps on her head.
Yeah, he starts kicking her.
He doesn't
while
kill
she's
her,
down.
but she is knocked out. And then Art starts looking for Jonathan. He finds him, and he's I think he slices his face open.
Yeah, he takes a knife to him.
And that was kind of shocking too, because he's a little kid. I don't want to see that happen to a little kid. It's kind of hard to watch.
Well, Damien likes to push the boundaries a little bit. See what he can get away with.
Damien. So, yeah, and he starts whipping this kid. I'm not sure what it was, but
it's like a
spiked whip.
It's kind of like, it's got this handle with chains, with knives dangling from. So we'll just call it the knife whip, I guess. And starts whipping him with it. And then Sienna does come to his rescue. She hits Art at the back of the head with that spiked bat, and Art's kind of unfazed by that. It's just kind of like an annoyance to him. So he pulls it out and then chases her around some more. And then there's a point where he's got the upper hand again. He starts whipping the shit out of Jonathan with it.
Yeah.
And she's trying to save him, but then he brings her back down and then starts whipping her with it. And then he just still wants to continue the assault on Jonathan. And starts whipping Jonathan with it.
Then we see Sienna cover.
And I thought that was really good for her character. The fact that she was willing to take the punishment for her brother. She was a tough
son of a gun.
Right, and she
didn't
just
take no BS. Mm-hmm. She fought back.
Yeah, so she starts taking some of the punishment, and then eventually she gets up and she starts to fight back. She grabs the knife when he tries to whip her with it, and then yanks it out of his hand, and she starts whipping him with it.
Yeah.
A
whole bunch.
Yeah, how do you like it, motherfucker?
And I believe she stabs him in the head, or whips him in the head or something like that.
Yeah, and rips part of his face off.
Yeah, and then she thinks he's done. Then he pops back up.
He's not, and then he throws her down this pit.
And
while she's down there, she's in this tank with water. Right, in a water tank.
She's trapped. She's got snakes or something holding down her feet so she can't escape. And then
she starts having this dream.
Yeah, back in the dream, back in the clown cafe where we saw Art kill all those kids. They're all dead, but they're dancing and just smiling and laughing. And we see this chick on fire. And we see the kid eating the cereal. He's all dead. Mm-hmm. And then she drowns.
But also, meanwhile, while she's down there doing all that, you see Art kind of doing some weird shit with Jonathan.
Trying to wake him up and
stuff. Trying to wake him up, and then Jonathan wakes up to, his hand being, eaten.
He's playing with his hand, trying to, just looking at it, eating it.
And then he does start biting at his ankle, and he's yelling for Sienna to come and help him.
And then we see this, like, sword. This was a sword that was in one of the sketchbooks that she's holding when she's holding the head. So this sword somehow connected to Art. It's like a magical sword. And that sword later appeared in Jonathan's dresser. It was like on top of either his or Sienna's. And I think he brought it with... I think Art the Clown somehow brought it with him. Because then it later appeared in the pit. It was like glowing... It was glowing red, and that like woke Sienna up.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like somehow got the snakes off of her, ripped the snakes off of her legs, and like went back up, like on to the top of the pit, had the sword, and then she somehow got up there.
And while Art is still gnawing on Jonathan's ankle, I think she appears behind him and like stabs him in the head.
Stabs him in the head, starts whipping his ass, beating him like, and then like, eventually, she gets the upper hand. Well, she still has the upper hand, and just starts cutting his head.
Right.
And
chopping it like
bang,
a piece of wood and
decapitation. There's been a lot of decapitations going on in these movies. So that kind of showed what was in the sketchbook, leading me to believe that Art is this demon that they keep referencing. I think he's some sort of spirit, some demon that now lives in this clown somehow. And then we see that girl, that little girl.
Gives them a real nasty look, like she didn't like what they just did.
And then she picks up the head and then smiles and like walks
away with it.
Walks away with it. And then that pretty much...
Is that the end credits? Or
they hug, we see them all beat up, and then, the end credits roll.
And then we get to the post-credits.
Post-credits scene, baby. And this is one scene I was waiting for, because I heard a rumor about this man who's going to be making an appearance. We do see Y2J, Chris Jericho, as one of the medical doctors at this psychiatric ward.
You just had to call him Y2J, didn't you?
Y2J.
Y2J.
Y2J, Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I guess he's a wrestler or something, from what I hear.
You know who he is. He's a pretty big wrestler. Actually, a horror fanatic himself. So he has appeared in other horror movies. But I just thought it was a cool cameo for the fans. He's pretty good friends with the creator, Damien Leon, and pretty good friends with the man who plays Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton. So I thought that was interesting.
But anyways, he's like this doctor or something. They're like eating some shit.
Like eye jelly or...
Fucking weird.
Yeah, it looked very, very creepy, and he just has this big old smile across his mug.
But then we go back to Victoria. She's like, that's Victoria, right? And messed up face.
Yeah.
And you just see blood, like, coming down from below, like she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And then...
it's like she was going through labor.
Right. And then one of the nurses is trying to get in, because she sees something's wrong. She gets in, and she gave birth to Art the Clown's head.
Yep. And
that was interesting, I'd say. But, that pretty much wraps it up.
And he's out there smiling and winking, and then we see the nurse yelling and, like, freaked out.
So, what are your thoughts on this movie, Michael? What do you think?
I didn't really like it. Maybe a little step up from the first one, because it just had more story. The thing I like about the first one is it was quicker. It was kind of more shocking because it was the debut. Art the Clown's like own first film, so. But I do like how I think they're missing some of the points. Like, how does Victoria fit in? That I'm sure they'll make it make sense in the third movie, but I feel like there's a lot of questions unanswered. I feel like they're giving us some story context, but I don't care enough, to be honest. I don't care enough about the story to really get into it. So
get invested.
Yeah, it's not really I feel like they're trying to get really deep into the story with the whole Victoria, the sword.
They're trying to build something.
Yeah,
you know?
but I just don't have enough interest in caring, to be honest.
I do.
Yeah, you do. You like it more than I did. But I will say that I'm going to give it a solid 4.5. Only
the rating.
It's a little step up from the first, but it is a lot longer than the first. I think it goes... The runtime in this is like an hour and 39 minutes, I want to say. The other one was 86 minutes, so it's a lot longer than the first. I will say it's more story, a lot more character building in this, and we get kind of an idea of who Art the Clown is a little bit. Obviously a supernatural force. That was made definite. So... Let me know what, Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Wow. Great movie. This movie had it all, especially if you're one of those thrill seekers that just love senseless sadism, I guess. Just this... It's definitely a grindhouse type film where it just has all this... I mean, this is just... I'm kind of lost for words on it. This is definitely one of the most vile, most brutal, most sadistic shit I've ever seen in a lot of these movies, man. I mean, this is kind of like one of those movies where it's like, man, just when you thought you'd seen it all. I mean, if you got like a real weak stomach to certain things, I wouldn't watch this movie. But like I said, if you're one of those thrill seekers, then... go right ahead. This is totally up your alley because this is as big as it gets, and I think for the future of Art the Clown going forward, I honestly think Art the Clown is going to be the next big thing. I mean, I think he has definitely cemented his spot amongst the horror icons. Maybe not as big as some of the really big ones.
He ain't an OG. Let's just cut to the chase. He ain't an OG.
No, I think he's kind of earning his spot a little bit. He's earning some stripes with me anyway.
No, he's not.
He's got a lot of character to him. He really does. And
I don't respect the whole him using guns and stuff like that. I mean, they do take a lot of risks with this movie, but I don't know. What's your rating on it?
My rating on it, I give it a 9.5.
Holy schmackaroos.
The only thing that's keeping it from a 10 was there's just a lot of shit in it that I didn't quite understand. So...
That would give us an official Chop and Slice rating of 14 out of 20.
14 out of 20.
Which I think is a little high, but your opinion is your opinion. We do differ in the... I'm not so into the blood and gore like you are. I'm more into story building and more of suspense.
More blood the better, baby. That's what I like.
I love the suspense and stuff like that.
Yeah, you like all the boring shit.
I like exciting stuff like Halloween 1978, but that's besides the point. So that will, in fact, I think you gave this a higher rating, than Halloween 1978, which is just super laughable. To even think this movie even comes close. But if you do like the movie, if you think it's good, and it's worth checking out, to be honest. So.
And no, the original Halloween did have a higher rating than this. So.
No, but your personal rating was not.
Oh no. Oh yeah, I definitely rated this way higher.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of that.
I think you're on something. That's besides the point. It's definitely not a better movie than Halloween 1978.
I beg to
differ. Well, any horror fan will agree with me. But that's fine. That's why we differ. That's why it's called Chop and Slice and not just Chop. So he gives you the slice and I give you the chop.
I guess.
If you did enjoy this review, please leave us a like, a comment, and subscribe if you'd like. Don't be too terrified to subscribe. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for listening to our review. Hopefully you guys have a great experience with this movie. Like I said, just because I personally didn't like it, doesn't mean you won't like it. So, it's worth watching. Support. I love supporting, guys, smaller budget movies like this. It was crowdfunded, and Damien Leone, I still think he's a good director, and it is unique.
For sure.
I'm not trying to shit on it and say don't watch it. Go watch it. Give yourself an opinion of the movie. It's not like it's Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Go out there, support this guy, and let's get a Terrifier 3. I'm not completely against it, people like what they like, so I'm saying I'm all for a trilogy. Let's get it going. So that will wrap us up today. Like I said, thank you guys, and we will be back.
Peace out.
Peace out.